So I am Dr. Sabine Elize. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cornerstone Medical Group here in Coral Springs, Florida. And as a physician, pastor's kid, wife, and mom, I've come to realize to be healthy, you have to address more than your physical health. That is why I help men and women reconnect their physical, spiritual, and cognitive health to bring satisfying wholeness to their lives daily. And I do it right here at my direct primary care office in Coral Springs, Florida, that I want to get a chance to tell you about at the end of our discussion today, but also want to be able to let you know its importance right now. So today we are speaking about cognitive health. Cognitive health. Some people will call this mental health. Some people will call this brain health. And in all honesty, I call it cognitive health because there still remains till this day a stigma when we speak about mental and emotional health. You know, some of our manly guys will say, no, that's just too much feelings. I'm not into those feelings too much. And then some people too, they just immediately associate when we speak about mental health as something being that is, they're crazy. And that's not what it is at all. And I want to let you know that as you and I are facing something that we've never faced before, we literally went to sleep one way and woke up to a completely different world. I want to let you know that whatever you're feeling right now is that cognitive health, that emotional health. So that those feelings out of nowhere where you're feeling stressed, where you are crying, where you're confused, where you're angry, where you're scared, all of those are normal. So we spoke about today the need for us to discuss what is it that we do? How do we maintain our minds? How do we maintain our sanity? How do we maintain our minds in a stressful time? And I want to give you 3 points, really big 3 points that are so important. Before I do get into that, I am in the office today. I am practicing physical and social distancing because it's very important. I was on back order to get my N95 mask, and I want to say a special thanks from the bottom of my heart to Dr. Gina Jules, pharmacist. She's the CEO and founder of Anuco Pharmacy Consulting Group, and I tell you that she saved my life because she got from myself and my office staff that's here these N95 masks that are so important because we have to protect ourselves, and it is definitely a lot that's going on, so we need to speak about it. So cognitive health. Our cognitive health is our mind health. It's our mind health. And it's important that what we speak about today, and when we are speaking about our health in general, we need to understand how our mind health, our emotional health, how it affects our physical health. You may think that, hey, you're a doctor that's a family medicine physician. What does this have to do, and what are you doing talking about cognitive health? Well, it's all a part of the picture. You know, we speak about how this physical, spiritual, and cognitive health is an interdependent system. And I want to talk to you about right now, there could be individuals who have noticed their blood pressure is not controlled, that they're taking the same exact medications. Those medications used to control them before, but now their blood pressure is not controlled. And the reality is because your cognitive health is suffering, as it should be. We are facing something that we've never faced before. We're confused, we're unsure, we're stressed, we're a little anxious. And that will manifest itself with some change in your blood pressure. It will manifest itself in a physical way. So what we want to talk about right now are 3 ways that you can maintain your mind in the midst of a stressful time. Is that okay? Can I talk to you about those 3 ways? Just throw a yes in the comment line for me if that's okay. If we could talk about those 3 ways to maintain our mind in the midst of a stressful time. And I do want to talk to you about some of the things that I'm going to be speaking about is some of the information that I write about here in the book, in the Healthy Whole Prescription. And I'll tell you the truth, it's something that even last week I had to practice for myself. And the reason why I had to practice it for myself, a lot of the information that I am obtaining, that I'm searching, it's coming directly out of those what's called morbidity and mortality reports. As physicians, this is what we study. So when we're seeing a new onset of disease, and we could see how it moves and how it changes. And last week, Tuesday, when I was reading those reports, when I was seeing what's going on, I will tell you very clearly and very honestly, it hit me. I was grieving last week for our nation, for our world. I was grieving, especially last week, for my physicians, my brothers and sisters who are in the emergency room who don't have the equipment that they need, like an N95 mask to protect themselves. And in all honesty, some of them having to use garbage bags to protect themselves when we're speaking about personal protective equipment. So I was grieving that. And that's not abnormal. That's normal. On the contrary, if you have not had a moment where you got a little scared or a little bit of anger or felt a little confused or just sad and crying, I'm concerned about you because this is a normal human response when you're stressed. But what do? We don't stay in that response. I want to remind you that, and I want to read it directly from here because I make mention of it in the book. The repetitive stories that we tell ourselves, the repetitive stories of hurt, of pain, of disappointment, of fear, of anxiety, those repetitive stories become toxic to our mind. So we do not want to have a toxic mind. We want to have a mind that is still maintained. So there's number one, the importance of get the information that you need, but don't keep on looking at those news feeds. Don't keep on following and tracking the number of cases. Don't keep tracking the number of deaths. That's going to become toxic to your mind. My friend Lisa says you steer where you stare. So if you keep on staring at anxiety, if you keep on staring at fear, if you keep on staring at those things, that is what you're going to feed your mind. That's going to become toxic, and it will produce itself in a physical manner in your body. So the number one thing is that I want you, when we are talking about maintaining our minds in a stressful time, you identify what it is you are feeling, and I want you to understand and know that it is normal. So you identify what you're feeling in this stressful time, understand and know that it is normal. And now that you've identified that, yes, I am feeling hurt, I am feeling scared, I'm feeling angry, you are allowing your mind to notice it. And now that we can identify it, our next step, number two, is to address it. One of the next steps to do to address it is that, well, we want to be able to increase the happy hormone in our body. And that happy hormone in our body is called serotonin. Anytime that you are doing physical activity, it's when you are increasing your serotonin. So this is the best time for you to be outside, engaging in physical activity, taking part in physical activity so it can increase your serotonin levels. So number one, what do we want to do? We want to identify what you are feeling right now is normal. Number two, we want to be able to make sure that we are increasing our happy hormone, which is serotonin, and we do that when we are partaking in physical activity. And I encourage you to go in nature and partake in that physical activity, because something happens when we're getting out of our homes and we're actually going outside in our backyards, walking just in our neighborhood, our block. If you have your kids with you, the family members who are in your household, when you're doing that, it does something for us. And I want you to do that. And it's also going to help combat a little bit of cabin fever that a lot of us are feeling, because we've been in the house for so many days now and we are in this position of quarantining. So it's very important. I want to help you understand and know that if you do have small children, what you are feeling, your children are feeling it too. So give them a little grace and give yourself a little grace as you're going through this stressful time, and identifying that, hey, this is normal. I feel confused. I feel angry. I feel stressed. This is not the time where you have to man up or woman up. This is the time where you have to take care of yourself, and we have to take care of each other. And as we are taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other, we have to, one, identify what we are feeling in a stressful time of this pandemic is real, and it's okay, and it's normal. So that's number one. Number two, you want to increase your happy hormone. That's the serotonin. Number three, you want to get the help that you need. You want to get the help that you need. So for some of you who are just driven by this idea of fear of you getting the coronavirus, there are so many telemedicine opportunities out there. We actually have opened up our telemedicine portal to any individual who needs to get just this questions, 5-minute screening, $27. You hop on the portal, you ask on the questions that you have. You could go to Cornerstone Medical Group, INC.com, and you'll be able to click that link at our homepage, and you'll be able to hop on that telemedicine call, because sometimes what we need is just to get our questions answered from a scientific medical point of view from a physician. There's a lot of information that's out there, and that's why I say I want you to be very mindful of what it is you are listening to and how much you are listening to it, because we will steer where we stare. And if we continue to look at repetitive stories of anxiety, repetitive stories of a death count, repetitive stories of cases, then what we are doing is feeding our minds something toxic, and we do not want to feed our minds something toxic. We want to get the facts. We want to know how this is affecting us. We want to know what this means for me and my household and my individual groups, of course, but we also want to be able to now frame everything up correctly. And part of framing that up correctly is holding on to the truth.